Yes, my guest this morning in the studio is the special projects interpreter from FortWhyte Alive. His name is Barret Miller, and he's in to talk about, now that the geese have flown south, what is in store for us at FortWhyte Alive. Good morning, Barret.
Good morning, Michael.
Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you
and
for having
braving
me.
these incredibly slick roads and snow. And
it is an interesting day out there weather-wise, and yeah, folks will get where they're going if they slow down. Yeah.
Well, they will for sure, like you did this morning. So you're the special projects interpreter at FortWhyte Alive. You've been there for 10 years, and FortWhyte just celebrated their 50th.
We did celebrate our 50th.
Last year, yeah.
That was quite exciting for all of us. It doesn't look 50 years on as it did 50 years ago, and we're always changing and growing. And we have grown quite a bit as an organization in the last few years. So all sorts of new and exciting things happening around the park.
Now, I know one of the big things over the last couple of months before was coming out and see the geese. That was one of the big exciting things, to see all the thousands and thousands of geese landing and at sunset and have a great meal.
It is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Goose flight season is very much over, but that doesn't mean the fun needs to end. Now, our extended hours have, but last weekend it turns out that our extended daylight hours ended too, so that's okay. Now, you might need to be a little bit more careful in noticing what's going on in the wild around FortWhyte, but there still is very much going on in the wild.
Okay, before we talk about some of the special things that are going on out there, tell us about some of the animals that people can see when they come out to FortWhyte Alive at this time of year.
Well, the only animals that I can ever guarantee are our bison herd. We have about 35 plains bison, a mix of breeding cows, a big bull, and some little calves from this year. In our interpretive center, there's an exhibit. Our Prairie Partners exhibit has prairie dogs and a burrowing owl. Now, I say that those are the ones I can guarantee because those are the ones that live at FortWhyte because of human action. Everybody else is there by choice. In the last week, I've seen a mink, I've seen muskrat, coyotes, deer, lots and lots of white-tailed deer, both gray and red squirrels, and that's just scratching the surface. All the birds haven't left either. I am quite pleased to say, a little bump for my chickadee friends. The chickadees decided that they would tell us there would be a storm this morning. If they're flying right around dark, right around end of day, frantically feeding, a storm will move in overnight. If they're feeding frantically 6 a.m. before the sun's up, it probably means the afternoon commute is going to be pretty wild. About 8 hours beforehand, they know that they need to feed to make it through the bad weather stretch, and they do. And last night, at lockup, chickadees. A flurry of chickadees, if you will, around one of our feeders. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I didn't realize that. Well, it's one of those farmer's almanac things, I suppose.
It is kind of. Only this one...
FortWhyte Alive almanac.
I don't want to knock the farmer's almanac, but this one works.
So where do you see these creatures walking along, like when you're walking along the paths at FortWhyte Alive, or?
Walking along the paths, checking side to side on the trails. One of the best encounters that I've had lately, I don't know how long the owl was watching myself and the forest school students that I was leading 2 weeks ago, but we saw the tail end of an owl as it flew away on us. The thing is, we must have walked just about underneath it before it flew away on us, so that was kind of neat. I can't necessarily tell anybody where to see something, just anywhere on the property, keep your eyes open and your heads up, because there may be something really, really cool that you either have never seen before, or it's been a long time, or you've never seen that one before.
I guess one of the things at this time of year as well, when all the leaves have fallen off the ground, it might be a little bit easier to see into the forest areas, right?
Yeah.
So this time of year is actually almost, I wouldn't say a better time, but it is a great time to see animals for that reason, right?
It certainly is. And the other thing, if tracks, animal prints, if you consider that to be text, every snowstorm is a blank page. And the animals rewrite the story every time there's a little bit of snow on the ground. This morning, if you see deer prints, they're going to be fresh. If you see the little scurry where the vole was, and then the loping tracks of a mink or a weasel come in to intersect that vole, you know exactly what was going on there. So that's always a neat time too. If there's a nice snowy evening and you can make your way out, you never You might never actually see who left the tracks, but there's a million stories to read, and you don't have to go far. The mink and vole example could be right as you get out of the car in the parking lot.
Wow. That's kind of cool, huh? Very poetic.
Thank you.
I'm going to remember that one, actually.
Tracks are text.
So I know that there's different events going on, but people can actually just go out and walk these trails on their own, right?
We are open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, 10 to 5 on weekends. On the weekends, you can check our website, FortWhyte.org, because there always are small little special things. Perhaps it's a kid's craft. Perhaps our sod house recreators have made it 1890 in our pioneer home again. There's usually a 2 o'clock walk. An experienced volunteer guide will lead you through the trails and maybe point out some of those different subtleties that you may miss if you're not familiar with the land. During the week, we do have school programs on. In fact, winter by numbers is our busiest school program season. So the fun doesn't stop. The only days the fun actually stops out there is on Christmas Day because, well, we're not run by Ebenezer Scrooge. Everybody deserves a break. But really, over the holidays, we are full of good things to do for family and visitors.
Give us a sense of some of the events that are happening during this month of November.
Okay, later in November, we have our Meet, Make, Take. This is a chance to do upcycled Christmas gifting. It's an evening event. Folks can come out and make things that they can then take with them and give away or keep if they really fall in love with it for the Christmas season. Later on, sort of looking into December, we have our Sod House singers and Santa himself at a breakfast for Santa one
Santa
weekend
even
morning.
makes an appearance.
He does. Oh, he does. Yes, very much so. Really likes the forest. It turns out that if you set up a chair out of straw bales and you put a bison hide on it, there's a lot of places that Santa can sit down, but that is one of the most unique. And
it's like a throne.
It tends to attract the big guy. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
And I've never seen a reindeer out there, but they must play nice with the whitetails because he seems to get in and out no problem. So that's coming up later in the month. I don't have the full holiday lineup yet, but there are some really, really good things over the holidays. If the cold weather stays, our toboggan slide will definitely be open by the time everybody's off of school and work, so that'll be fun.
I was looking at things. There's Nordic Walking, cabin yoga.
Oh, yeah. The cabin yoga is very, very popular and definitely worthwhile. The field station where that happens is set right at a lakeside, and the view from there, you're only about half a kilometer from Route 90. If I had a better throwing arm, I would literally be a stone's throw. However, it feels like you're in the north part of the White Shell, and it's just you, the fire, and the people who are in the class with you. Nordic Walking every Saturday morning. If you'd like to give it a shot, Nordic Walking is walking with poles. It sort of combines the workout of skiing with the fun of a nature walk. It's a good workout. It's a good workout, and the group around it makes it very, very friendly and accessible to everybody. So that's also a kind of neat one. And if you're worried about ice, if you would like to go with a group and explore, and you're thinking you might be a little bit more of a mover than, say, a guided hike, Nordic Walking is a really good way to check out FortWhyte.
The other thing I just want to mention, I'm in the studio with Barrett Miller. He is the Special Projects Interpreter at FortWhyte Alive. We're talking about some of the things that are happening over the next season, I guess you could say, this month, December, January, February, all through the winter months. And he said it's sometimes the busiest times of the year for them out there. One of the things that caught my eye was the Astro Pub.
Yes, it is.
Which is sold out, apparently.
It is sold out, and that's why I was holding back, but there will be another round.
Yeah, tell us about the Astro Pub. I was kind of intrigued by that one.
Darren Townsley, a local fellow, has a inflatable, portable planetarium. He will set that up in our main theater and explain a little bit about what you're seeing in the night sky. Now, Darren is not just well-versed in the science and astronomical end of things. He also really celebrates the culture of the stars, what different people through time have looked up and seen, what that might resonate with us today in those stories. And then if it's a clear night, he'll have a telescope set up outside and we'll have some sort of feature focused on. And it's not an Astro Pub without a pub aspect. There's always something to roast around the campfire and frosty beverages available to just enhance that campfire and stargazing experience. That's an example of something that obviously, with that pub aspect, is geared to the adult set. If you've never been to FortWhyte without the kids, now, it is a great family destination. I want to point out, too, our winter camp is open for registration. That runs over the Christmas holiday. Now, lots to do for the kids, but there's also lots to do for us grown-ups. And if you've never been as an adult without a little one in tow, I do encourage you to come out. If you're looking for something absolutely unique, whether you've been dating for 2 months or 2, 3, 4 decades, there's always something really cool to do as partners. You want a solo adventure? Well, it's adventure right in the city.
Well, I haven't been this year, so now you're intriguing me. I'm going to come out there this winter. And I'm not usually an outdoor guy in the winter, but I think I'm going to brave it, put on my toque and warm gloves and hat and everything, and I'm going to be there.
Well, that's good to hear, Michael. And we'll have a fire going in the Alloway Reception Center for you to warm up by after your outdoor adventure.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Barret.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you. You can get more information at fortwhyte.org. Information about their hours, the admission prices, and all these amazing events that are happening. So they've got a great calendar that's laid out there for you every month, and go and check it out. It's amazing because it's right in the city, yet you'd think you're far out in the country. So thanks again for coming in, Barret. My pleasure to have you here.